welcome to another episode of the Bottom of the Stream movie show. My name is Adam.
My name is Nick. Welcome back. It's another week. It's another movie. We're back on the stream boat. We are searching for hidden gems, hidden at the bottom of the Netflix or Amazon Prime stream.
We are indeed. And this week we've come across a movie called Barely Dreaming. Barely Dreaming was released in 2021. According to Amazon, it's rated as a 13. Isn't a thing. Just keep rating movies randomly.
Love it.
Runs for 1 hour and 16 minutes. It's a short little baby, this one.
It is.
And it's currently rated at 5.2 out of 10 on IMDb. This movie doesn't star,
Okay.
but features a TV legend in the US.
Does it?
Yes. Chris Robinson is in this movie. He plays Bud Millen, the next door
he's
neighbour.
like the old guy, yeah.
He has been in 960 episodes of General Hospital.
Amazing.
And 245 episodes of The Bold and the Beautiful.
Do you know what?
Along with 500 IMDb credits, I think.
I'm
Mostly
impressed.
TV shows.
I'm impressed.
That's crazy, isn't it?
I feel good. I think that is a good get for the people behind Barely Dreaming.
It is indeed. He's top credit in this film for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
He's in it for less than 3 minutes altogether, probably.
2 scenes, I think.
Yeah, at the most. Also stars a lady called Jennifer Slack. She plays Paige, and stars a guy called Michael Jason Allen who plays Adrian. Michael Jason Allen also wrote and directed this movie.
It's his baby.
It's his baby. I need to tell you something about Michael Jason Allen.
Perfect.
He is an actor, a director, a producer, and a music star.
Nice.
Right? I want to read you the last paragraph of his IMDb
Oh,
bio.
I love this sort of stuff, yes.
It says, he is the lead vocalist, songwriter, and instrumentalist for his electronica rock band, Magnificent Life. He also has an 80s era alter ego named Jason Mysteria, in which he has released several pop albums with many music videos. In 2023, he began adapting his movies into audiobooks.
Wow.
How do you adapt a movie into an audiobook?
I don't know. Do you read the script? Does he play the parts? Oh my god.
I don't know. I'm intrigued to find out. He has a 1980s alter ego named Jason Mysteria.
Perfect.
This guy's a character, man.
I think we saw a bit of Jason Mysteria in some of the dream sequences in this movie.
Can we talk about what this movie is before we start?
Yeah?
What's this movie?
It's the story of it's the last story of a dying author,
It is.
essentially.
I guess we just have to get into it and
I
go
think
through
so.
it. A lot of what we're about to say in the next half an hour or so isn't going to make any sense. Mainly because the movie doesn't make any sense.
We'll talk about what we've seen.
We'll talk about what we've
That's what we're
seen.
here for.
We'll go through scene by scene of what we've seen in this movie and see if we can make any sense of it together. Do you, Nick, have a one-word review of Barely Dreaming?
Dream Lover.
Dream Lover.
For any Jeff Buckley fans out there.
Indeed.
Because that's basically what this is about.
Yes.
Before we get going,
Okay.
I would like to refer you to the Letterboxd entry
Oh, I like it when we do this sort of thing.
for this movie.
Because it was Frozen where somebody reviewed their own film. No, it was Freak Show.
No, it wasn't. It was Ape Canyon.
Oh, okay. One of the three.
One of the stars had
Reviewed his own film.
put a review in of the movie. And we'll come to reviews in a second.
Okay.
Now, we know that we are dealing, even when it's a Netflix movie that comes out of the randomizer, we can be dealing with when we say bottom of the stream, we mean bottom of the stream.
100%.
Stuff that's turned up on Netflix because it's part of a deal for the same distribution company or whatever. Some real random stuff. And we knew we would bringing Amazon Prime in for this season. It's even more of a Wild West.
Yeah, 100%. It's very much a Wild West. They're not even part of the BBFC. Nobody's even reviewing these movies.
But I think we might be treading new ground here.
Okay.
So, Letterboxd.
Yep.
Barely Dreaming.
Letterboxd is like a social media for movie viewers.
Yeah, so you can log, I've seen this movie,
Yeah.
you can rate the movie, you can give the movie
recommend
a
it to other
review.
people.
You can add it to lists. So
It's actually really cool.
Yeah, my favourite movies, my favourite sci-fi movies, whatever.
You get like a profile, people see what you
Yeah, and also it has the IMDb aspect, so it has the cast, the crew,
Yeah.
all those details and stuff like that, where you can watch this movie. So you can see how many people have logged that they've seen a movie.
Okay.
How many people do you think have seen this movie on Letterboxd? So they've gone to the effort of watching this movie and then going to
reviewing.
Letterboxd and going, I've seen this. No, we'll get to reviews in a minute.
Okay, just have seen it.
Yes.
Not reviewed it, have seen it.
Correct.
Okay. Three.
If you get within... Oh, no, just go for it.
3,254.
Less.
Okay, 1,906.
Less.
1,000.
Less.
500.
Less.
300.
Less.
100.
Less.
Less than 100. 50.
Less.
No, fuck off. 25.
Less.
20.
Less.
10.
Less.
5?
Correct.
5 people have watched this movie.
5 members have marked this as watched.
Wow, that's mad. Do you know what we could do? We could double that.
I know. People like old Michael Jason Allen's going to go like, oh my God, what's this sudden surge in my movie?
Oh, please let's double it. That's insane.
If you've got a Letterboxd account, just say, and go, well, what? You might want to watch it after you've heard it.
No, yeah, but I've watched it, you've watched it, that's 2 more.
Yeah.
All of our patrons watch all of our movies. That's 4 more. We could more than double
that's
this.
Before everyone else who listens.
Yeah.
We could it'd be huge, the increase in numbers.
Let's make this movie go viral on Letterboxd. Go and mark that you've watched.
How many reviews has this movie got?
How many people had watched it? 5.
Yeah.
1.
No reviews.
No reviews at all.
No. So, I am proposing,
Okay.
with the caveat that I think since this has been out for 3 years, in the next 45 minutes or so,
Yeah.
I'm fairly certain no one's going to review it.
Yeah.
So we will be the first people to review this movie on Letterboxd, and we'll do it
At the end of this episode.
episode.
Oh, that is exciting. I love that. Wow. Definitely.
We'll do it live.
We'll review it live.
We'll type it in, yeah.
Oh, that's going to make
And
me feel bad about what I'm going to say about
It
it.
might blow Michael Jason Allen's mind. Do you think you can set up a notification?
Yeah, I'm sure you
A
can.
review is in!
How many on IMDb have reviewed it? Let me just check that, because that's usually like 200 and something.
Yeah.
For these really low films. 45.
Yeah, that's low.
This is the... Are we saying this is as low as we've ever been?
In terms of those numbers, it certainly is on Letterboxd. And that is probably...
One of the lowest on IMDb.
Yeah.
Wowzers.
Yeah. How about that?
I wish you could get like viewing numbers on Amazon. Like how many people have watched this movie on Amazon?
I don't think you're just... I don't know. I feel like your algorithm must be pretty weird to just come across this.
Even then, that's going to be... If nobody's watched this on Amazon for the last 2 years, which is highly likely by the sounds of it, there's going to be at least 5 this week. That's a 500% increase. That's going to hit Amazon's top of Amazon's like algorithm chart, surely. No other movie's going to have had a 500% increase.
The sequel's going to be requested.
Even if you don't intend to watch this movie, can you just start it on Amazon this week? And let's just see if we can get it noticed by people.
So we should probably talk about the movie.
We should, because it's also not very good.
Before we start. So last week I
Only
said
10
that
minutes in.
I had an advert for Prada.
Yes.
Yeah, it was EasyJet this week.
I had Prada.
Did you?
Yeah. I was going to mention it. So weird.
I'm not suggesting well, obviously not, because the product is linked to the quality. Of the
I had
movie,
3
but-
adverts before this movie started.
Really?
Yeah. Crazy. Where does this movie start, Nick?
Well, first before the movie starts, my first note is, oh my God, the logos. We're talking low.
Low. One of them
quality.
is Michael Jason Allen, whatever his name is. It's his production company. Is it Now You See Me Movies
Yeah.
or something? That's his production company. Yeah, they're low budget.
I mean, it's quite, and the credits are at the end as well. It's sort of 90s MTV.
Yeah, this movie's been
That's
made
how
on
I would
zero.
describe the sort of
There is absolutely
look of
zero
the-
budget in this movie.
and we start with tracking shots of a car
We do.
driving through the woods. Well,
We do
not
indeed.
through a road in the forest,
And they're in this car.
and we get the credits.
we do. Yeah,
as
there's some
we-
post film credits.
I just
Pre-film
put we're
credits.
already padding this movie out, and no one said a word.
Yeah, and it's only 66 minutes long. There's a lady driving the car. There's a young boy in the back of the car with 2 dogs.
They're both dogs. Have got the same name.
Have they?
Yeah, Gus and Gus.
Oh, I never noticed that. That is weird. She gets a phone call from her husband, and we also find out at this point that she's pregnant.
Yeah.
Mainly, I think because the actress probably was. 'Cause it's not.
Yeah,
There's no need for it to be in this movie. And they've been to a dog show.
They weren't They weren't both called Gus. Can I just point this out?
Oh, okay.
One was called Gus Gus.
One was called Gus and one was called Gus Gus.
No, that was 3 Gusses.
3 Gusses?
No, Gus Gus was one of them.
I think one was called Wembley.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. That's what I was like.
just being an idiot.
You are an idiot. They've been to a dog show.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone well.
No, the dogs didn't do shit.
Yeah, they didn't. Literally.
They didn't do any of their tricks.
They didn't do any of their tricks. And the kid's a bit disappointed, but he's okay. The dad, who was on the phone,
He couldn't go. He had to do meeting.
he apologised for not
Stuff.
being there.
Business
And
things.
they're on their way to visit Uncle Adrian,
Yes.
who is the brother of the lady who was driving.
Yes, it was Paige. We
Paige.
later find out.
Yep. And we cut into his house, and Adrian is not well.
Mm-hmm.
He's suffering from cancer. He's lying in bed. He's got a nurse looking after him.
Yep, Nurse Cheryl.
Yeah. And we find out that he's an author,
He's reading one of his own books.
reading one of his own books,
Because he's like, oh, I should have changed that. I should
Yeah.
have.
criticising his own book.
Yeah.
Then everyone shows up at his bedside. Paige and the kid turn up with
Yeah.
the 2 dogs, and then her husband turns up just afterwards.
And they're the other sister, because
There's another sister who was already there.
yeah, who's a painter.
Yes. Can't remember what her name was.
I've got it written down later.
Okay. And they're visiting because Cameron, who is the son, the nephew of this guy,
Yeah.
has an early birthday gift for Adrian.
Sure. He says, I couldn't wait. Paige says he saw this and he wanted to give them to
Yeah.
you straight away.
And it's a couple of pens. It's like a nice pack of
Oh,
posh
gift set.
pens. Yeah,
And he's really touched, Adrian.
Yes, he is. He's really upset by it.
Adrian knows he's not got long left, I think.
Yes, I think that's what we're saying here. And then they all leave
Really quite abruptly.
quite abruptly and less than a minute after they arrive. So they've all driven there, out of their way because their husband's like meeting them there as well. And they stay there for less than a minute. It was very abrupt, very strange.
And just as they're going, Paige is the last one to leave.
Yeah.
And Adrian
Kind of
says,
calls her back into the room.
he says, look, this gift's amazing. He says, I think I've got one more project in me.
Yeah, one more story.
To write, one more story. And he says, can I trust you if I
Right.
if I pass, if I'm
Yeah.
no longer here, can you make sure the manuscript goes to the publisher?
Yeah.
You know, I trust you to get it to the right place.
And she agrees.
And she's like, well, yeah, of course it will, but don't be silly.
Yeah,
You're
gonna
going to
be
be
fine.
around for a lot longer yet.
They all leave. Nurse Cheryl is still there.
And we then learn, actually, that Adrian has just stopped his treatment.
Yes,
He stopped the chemo,
he has
which
indeed.
the family is not aware of.
Yeah. He tells Cheryl that if he had a third sister, he wished it was her.
Yeah. And he cries.
And he cries. And that's where the scene cuts away.
I have actually written, in big bold letters, this was surprisingly good for the first 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, because clearly this is less than zero budget.
Yeah, this is a...
We're on, obviously, as I say a lot of the time, we're on a curve here.
Yeah.
But I didn't think there was any particularly bad acting in this. I mean, in this bit.
Okay. There is some terrible acting in this
Yeah,
bit.
there is. But I was just saying, the first 10 minutes, I was like, actually, I'm kind of interested.
Yes. Okay, I'm in at this point.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. I'm in at this point.
I just thought, look, it's clearly low budget. Everyone's trying their best. But at this point, I was like, no, there might be something here.
Yep.
I'm intrigued to see where this goes.
Let's see where it goes. Later that night, Paige is at home with her family, and she gets a telephone call on her mobile, and it's Cheryl, the nurse, and she is calling with the unfortunate news that Adrian has passed away.
Yeah.
Same night.
No, look, what I said earlier
Yep.
stops here because they just got this scene totally wrong.
Yeah.
Like, it almost came across as comedy. Like, the suddenness of the passing.
Yeah.
And
It's
then,
the same night.
yeah,
They've just got
like
home.
hours later.
Yeah.
And then Paige just kind of, I put in my notes, Paige has no further questions. Lol. She's literally just, oh, right,
Okay,
okay.
thanks for letting us know. Bye. Puts the phone down. And then I sat there thinking, well, what does Cheryl do now? She's in this house with this dead body. The kid just looks at his mom. The husband just looks at her.
She unspokenly tells them what's happened,
Yeah.
I presume.
And then we cut to the very next morning. Paige and Clara's
is the
the
sister.
sister. They get given a note. They're packing his house away.
Yeah.
The very next day. This is the next following morning. It's made clear to us this is the next
They've
step.
been bequeathed a trunk.
They have. So
And that's not how bequeithtions work.
No, they're
It takes
taking it,
months.
they're putting it in their car that very morning, and Cheryl gives them a note. And the note basically says, it's from Adrian, it says there's a gift in the trunk.
He
It's for
says,
Paige.
yeah, there's something in the trunk. You'll know when you find it.
Then Paige and
They
Clara-
say farewell to Cheryl because she's like, I've got a new job.
Yeah, she's already got another job.
I'm going to work at...
Because they say to her, what are you going to do next? And she's like, I'm
Something
fine. I've got
General
another job."
Hospital.
She's going to be a post-operation nurse at a
Yeah.
general hospital.
So it's not palliative care.
No, it's not. It's a lot less stressful, I think she says. But she's already got that.
Yeah.
She's obviously been waiting for
But
this
she
dude
says,
to die.
I tell you what, guys, just let me know when the funeral and everything
I
is,
100%
and I'll come
want
back.
to be there.
And do you think he trusted Paige because her name's Paige and he wrote books?
Do you think that she's called Paige because that's how imaginative the script writers are? Then my next note says funeral section.
I thought
Because-
it was the day of the funeral.
Yeah, the next
But
is
It's
No,
after the funeral.
it's this. Yeah, there's you see a hearse,
Library footage.
library footage of a hearse, and then we're just back home. The kids got a suit on. I presume they've been to a funeral.
It's not even the wake. It's literally just
Back
Paige,
home.
her husband, and
Yeah.
Cameron, the kid.
And Paige has started to. I was really confused by this. Her garage is now full of Adrian's possessions.
Oh, I thought they were back at his, but
No,
yeah, you
they're
might
at-
be right.
they're at her
Yeah, they're
house.
at hers. You're right. Yeah.
100%. She's moved some of his stuff into her garage, and she sorted it out because her other sister's too busy.
No, Clara's there. They're
Yeah.
going to do it together.
They work, but Paige has already made a start on it, sorted into order, and then they're going to go through it and see what's there.
But Clara has to leave because she has a painting emergency.
Yeah, there's a painting emergency.
She's a client calls her and she's like, "I've got to go. This commission needs to be finished tomorrow."
Yeah. Now, I don't know where she went, but she never fucking comes back.
No.
We never see her again. Paige then remembers that she's been given this gift of this trunk. So she opens this trunk, and inside there's
Jar of rocks.
jar of rocks, because why not? There's some photos, a memory book, and then also a leather-bound manuscript, handwritten, 500 pages, maybe.
Was the book made of human skin?
It was made of leather.
It's a creepy
Yeah,
book.
It was a creepy book. It was bound. It was all professionally bound,
yeah.
hand-bound, handwritten. It had a clasp on the front. She opens it up, and it is implied that he has written this entire manuscript in that few hours
He
before he
says
died.
later on, "I've spent 4 hours writing this."
That's a lot more work than 4 hours.
Yeah.
In that. There must have been 500 pages there. It was huge. It was as thick as a Stephen King novel, and it had been professionally hand-bound.
Yeah, but he said He said in the
He
because
said
there's
as
a
if they had this
self
notebook
there's
for
a
a while.
self forward, and he said
Yeah.
basically, "I've had this notebook for a while. I knew what I wanted to write in it, but I wasn't ready to tell this story."
I didn't have a pen.
I didn't have a pen. Yeah, that was it. He couldn't do it.
Till Cameron gave him a pen, he didn't have a pen. Yeah, he had this story in his head. He's always wanted to write it down. He never has until the last night of his life. He's going to write it down. And the rest of this film now is Paige reading this story to herself and Adrian acting it out, acting in very loose inverted commas.
Did you pick up the title of the story?
I didn't. I do
No?
remember it was
Pretty
some.
catchy.
I do remember it was something ridiculous, but I didn't write
Not
it down.
pretentious at all.
Okay, go on.
Wonderland, utopia, melancholy, and terror.
Fuck me. Okay. And basically, this is a story about his next door neighbor Bud, or his next door neighbor Bud inspired this story or started off this story.
Yeah, he talks of meeting his friend Bud, who lives next door. And
We cut to them chatting.
yeah,
So this is Adrian and Bud chatting away in Bud's house.
just as the screen melts from Paige in the garage to Bud and Adrian, the sort of last line that she reads out is, "Yeah, I made friends with Bud. We used to go and talk, and I had started to tell him about my struggles to sleep. So
Yes.
Adrian was struggling with insomnia."
He was indeed. And then we cut to those two, and Bud. One of the first things Bud asks Adrian is why he isn't happy. He's just published a new book. He should be very happy,
He
but
senses something.
he
is
senses
wrong.
that there is
He's like,
something
"This
wrong.
isn't like you, Adrian."
Yeah. And Adrian kind of dismisses him, but Bud, it turns out, used to be an archaeologist.
Correct.
He used to be an archaeologist. And he used to do
archaeologist.
archaeological digs when he was younger. And he's got all these photos of him digging in various digs around the world.
And then for some reason they talk about dreams and how having nice dreams is nice.
Yes, having nice dreams is nice. That's what this film should be called. Having nice dreams is nice. But this all culminates, this whole boring conversation culminates in Bud giving Adrian a pouch that was full of some sort of sand powder, is what Adrian calls it later on, which he'd found in an archaeological dig, figured out it wasn't poison, and has been taking it since.
Occasionally.
He's been occasionally eating some of this powder.
It's some kind of like, I presume it's some kind of like ground up Mexican root. Yeah.
Oh no, I have no. You have to presume
when Homer goes on his vision quest for the chili. It's that sort of thing.
You have to presume because you are given no context of what it is or where you even found it.
But Bud says, look, this will help you sleep.
Yep.
But it will give you some wacky dreams. Yeah. It might inspire you to write more.
Yeah, it might do.
And
you must take a very small amount.
He says no more. Distinctly, he says no more than a quarter of a teaspoon.
Yes. He says, I once took a teaspoonful and I was awake for 2 days.
Yeah.
Just being loopy.
Oh, it was out. Yeah, he was away with the fairies.
We briefly cut back to Paige reading. So this is just to make us remember that she exists.
Yes. Keith just comes and checks on her.
Yeah.
Checks he's still in the garage.
And then we're back to Adrian. Adrian's now in bed. It's late night. He can't sleep.
He remembers the powder.
He remembers he's got the powder. So he picks up this powder.
Just dumps it all in a drink.
Pretty much dumps all of it in his drink. Not just the quarter of a teaspoon he was told to do. And then he takes a sip of this drink.
Settles back into bed. Watches TV.
Into bed. Sees some weird shit on TV is my next
He sees himself.
Yep.
Taking the place of one of the actors in this show.
That's
watching. What happens
yep.
first. And then an ad comes on for the hoseless shower.
What was this all about?
I quite like this.
This was like
one of those
infomercial type ads for a shower that didn't need a water source.
Yeah.
And didn't need a hose. It was just a shower head that you could turn on anywhere and it would water you.
And do you know what I liked about it? I don't know if you picked up this detail, but in the infomercial, it was like, you can get the hoseless shower for $49.99.
I did pick this up.
Or 2 payments of $29.99.
Yeah.
And then the next bit is like, if you pay an extra whatever, you can get our limited edition golden shower.
I did pick that up.
At this point, I was like, fine. If this movie is going to be on this level for the rest of this, I'm fine with that.
Is it though?
No, it's not.
So now we basically for the next ages just having flashes of these dreams that Adrian's having. So we're probably just going to list them out of what happens in these.
And it's very
short
much,
2 minute.
Yeah, and it's very much done as the sort of stream of consciousness just flowing in and out of his head. Look, and let's try and give a little bit of credit here. I guess the goal is to try and capture what happens with a dream, because dreams jump around and one person suddenly turns into another person, and that's what it's trying to do, isn't it?
Yes, that is exactly what it's trying to do. In the first one, he imagines a woman trying to shoot him with a bow and arrow.
Yes.
And then she does shoot him with a bow and arrow.
He's shot dead.
Yep. That then turns into an image of what we find out is his grandmother, who is introducing a younger version of Adrian to a young girl called Shannon, who lives nearby.
And he's like, I don't like girls, they stink. Because he's an 8-year-old boy.
Then he meets a tap dancer called George.
Yes.
Who is a character from one of his books.
George is on the street sort of pleading his girlfriend to give him another chance.
Yeah.
And then he talks to Adrian, and Adrian tells him, oh, you'll be in my next book.
Yeah.
And George is really happy, and he's like, screw you, woman. I'm going to be famous.
Then Adrian's tied up on the floor and he's being attacked by a toy robot, which is calling him useless and telling him to stop writing books.
Yeah, and also we get just a quick one I think you missed. There's a montage of Shannon but now she's grown up and hot.
Yeah. Okay. In the next one, he's tied up at gunpoint in his bedroom.
This is like bedroom. Back to the
original
TV show that you saw watching, where he was a character. So he's been taken hostage.
But it's by another character from one of his books who's taken him hostage. Because he got killed. This guy got killed off in the book. Yeah. He didn't like being.
Shannon's also a hostage with him.
Yeah, that dude then stabs Adrian.
Yeah,
and that's the point where Adrian wakes up in bed.
And the dude tells Shannon, "You're just unlucky. You're in the wrong place, wrong time with the wrong guy."
Yes.
Yeah, and then like you say, Adrian gets stabbed.
Yeah.
And the guy says the name of the film.
Yes,
He's
he does.
like, what are you playing at? You can't even sleep right. You're barely dreaming.
He wakes up, his TV is still on, and he looks over at his TV, and was it Bud? There was an older man playing a theremin on the TV, talking to him.
I think it was Bud.
But
it's an old scratchy TV, and it's hard to say.
It's hard to say.
And the guy says, our time's nearly run out. I'll see you soon. You need to figure this out yourself.
Yeah.
So, he's awake.
He's awake now.
So,
So we cut back to Paige, who's still reading this as a book. How is this being portrayed in writing? Is what I'd like to know. She sits on a chair. She gets more comfy. She basically sits on a chair in the garage.
For the long run.
She's in it for. She's also about halfway through this book by now. It's this like 500-page monster novel. She's about halfway through. Adrian takes some more of the stuff. He drinks a bit more of his drink.
Thinking, right, I need more to knock me out.
Yeah, because I'm not asleep. I need to go back. And then he does go back to sleep.
But that was a bit funky. I want some more of that.
So then he does go back to sleep. There's a crazy doctor for a few seconds.
Yeah, like the Wheatos guy.
Yeah. Then he's seen walking towards a pond.
I thought he was guided there by a barbershop quartet.
There was a barbershop quartet. I've put following him, but they might be guiding him. And Shannon is also there, but facing away from him. So he's walking towards her. Then he says to Shannon in this dream, help me find Bud.
Yeah. Because
he needs to find Bud to find out what's going on. The barbershop quartet then argue about where Bud is. They stop singing and start arguing. Adrian then remembers proposing to Shannon.
They slipped this in and it didn't land. I had to rewind.
She did.
Yeah. I had to go back and check what I'd heard.
Yeah.
Because they basically slip in that the reason
Shannon is a real memory in his life.
Yes. Because when the family were around the bed earlier, Nurse Cheryl had said, "Oh, you say the name Shannon a lot while you're asleep."
They know of this mystery girl that had been in Adrian's life at some point, but they don't know anything about her. He then remembers proposing to Shannon
on atop a cliff.
Atop a cliff. She was so astounded that she fell off this cliff
and died.
Yeah,
she slipped and died.
Bud then appears to him in his dream and says, "You will be able to see her again. You just need to let it happen."
Yeah.
And then Adrian's falling off this cliff as well because he's like hanging on while Bud's talking to him. Then the robot's attacking him again, the toy robot that appears again, attacking him, telling him he's useless at writing. Then he's falling again for a second time. Then this cowboy dude comes on and says that Bud is not your friend.
Mm-hmm.
He's an enemy. You shouldn't be listening to him. And then Adrian wakes up in bed again and the golden shower advert's on again.
Yeah. And is this where he picks up the glass of powder and smashes it?
Yes. Yes, I think he does. Yeah. I think he deliberately smashes it at this point. We come back to Paige, who's still reading this book and is now crying her eyes out.
Yeah. I mean, I don't understand what's made her cry.
Shannon dying and her brother losing his wife as he proposed to him, or potential wife. But how he's written all this as a text, I'd love to read this book.
Well, if the director has done it as an
audiobook, maybe we will.
You can find out.
Adrian then falls back asleep again. If you think this is weird, this is this now. This is the movie.
I quite like this next bit.
Adrian falls asleep again. He bumps into Shannon, who is now his ex-wife. It's not Shannon.
It's his
real ex-wife, Monique. Manette. So he did get married after he'd been with Shannon, and they got divorced.
Yeah.
And now she's in this is all in the dream, remember? She's introducing her new husband to Adrian, who is called Brody, but is Adrian.
Same actor.
Same actor in a fireman's uniform.
He's in full fireman kit. And she's like, "Oh, I've made my new husband Brody, and he's younger than you. He's got better hair, and he's a fireman. His six-pack's amazing."
But Adrian says to her, "Well, he looks just like me." She's like, "No, he doesn't look anything like you." Then that cuts away back.
It's a bit like Ross Russ in that episode.
Yeah, it is. Then that cuts away back to the old man playing the theremin again. But I feel like this was stop motion animation at this point. This old man was like really...
he was in front of the wall.
Yeah, he was like all crooked up in a corner playing this theremin. It didn't look real.
And he basically said to Adrian, your time's up. It's time for you to sleep.
No way out. Your time's up. You're too late. You've got to get some sleep.
And then we get it goes quick now for this.
Just before that, the robot attacks him again.
Yes, and then it goes quick. So we get a load of like devil imagery, as in people in that sort of makeup. There's a load of sea water imagery. He keeps like having his face dunked.
Yeah.
That sort of thing.
I've written weird backwards montage.
Yeah.
There's all this montage of his life going backwards. Then I've written man in snow says goodbye to him.
Yeah. Adrian collapses in the snow now all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And I think this might have been his mum and dad.
I think it was. It was definitely his mum.
Yeah.
I don't know who the bloke was, but I'm assuming dad.
Basically sort of, saying goodbye to him.
Yeah. Shannon wakes him up in this snow, and then he sees an angel.
Yes.
Then he sees his mum and this man, who presuming is his dad. And then he wakes up in bed again. So he gets out of bed, and he instantly collapses to
He's
the
got
floor.
the shakes,
He's
and
got
then
the
he passes
shakes and
out,
collapses.
And then we cut back to him narrating reading out his own novel, but it's Adrian doing the voiceover.
Yeah.
And he's basically, and that was me. I was out for the night.
Yeah.
Until the next morning, I decided to go and see Bud and tell him about.
So that had
what
all
I'd
happened in
experienced.
one night.
Yeah.
So he goes back to see Bud. He tells Bud, look, I've had all these good dreams of nice memories, but I've also had some pretty trippy nightmares that I didn't enjoy.
And Bud just quite creepily goes, yeah, don't do any more.
Don't take any more of it.
And then, even more creepily, he says, I too have tasted my own death.
He does. It is so fucking weird. Then voiceover Adrian, who's reading the book in Paige's head, says, 3 days later, I was diagnosed with cancer. And after my cancer treatment, I never saw Bud again. He disappeared. And this is where I realised that he was never there in the first place. He was a ghost. He says, I chucked all the powder away. I never took the powder again. I never saw the powder again. Don't know where it came from. And I've not seen or heard of Bud since I started my cancer treatment.
Yeah.
Shannon, however, was real. Because obviously Paige doesn't know this.
Yeah.
Shannon was real. All of that story about her dying as I proposed to her was real. And Paige is still reading this book.
He says, we met years and years ago. We travelled together. But yes, she fell to her death. So I never told any of you, my family, about her.
So none of the family knew she even existed. And then he writes a bit more about knowing he's about to die, knowing that this is the end. This is the end of the story. And how during that crazy night he knew he was barely dreaming. And he says the title of the story.
And he says he wants his... the timeline doesn't work here. Because this is where he says, isn't it? Correct me if I'm wrong. That he wants his remains... Or he wants to be buried next to Shannon.
Next to Shannon. But it
we're
doesn't
only
say
just
that.
finding about Shannon, and he's already had the funeral.
Yeah. Yeah. He says, it says in my will that I'll be buried with the family. I don't want to be buried with the family. I want to be buried with Shannon.
Yeah.
Paige didn't find the book till after the funeral. Just remember that for the second time. Paige now is at the end of the book. She has read all 500 pages of this crazy long, massive book.
And there's a note in there where he says, I've spent 4 hours writing this.
Yeah.
It's the last thing I'll do.
Inside the back of the book is the empty pouch.
Yeah.
Of powder. And an obituary for a guy named Bud who died in 1960.
There's pictures there.
Yeah. He died in 1967.
Yeah. In which this movie is not set.
No, 100% not. Paige then puts the book away, goes back to her family, and she says to her husband...
Oh, also, we get a lingering shot as she shuts the trunk of a pair of Shannon's shoes. They're ballet shoes.
Yeah, like ballet shoes. She goes back to her family. Her family are still out of bed, so this hasn't taken her long to read this book at all. And she says to her husband, do you still have the number of Adrian's publisher? Why would you have that? But apparently you do.
You would. He would have been at the funeral. You might have his details.
Maybe. And then he says, yes, I do. It's in the junk drawer.
I want to just say before we go further as well.
Yeah.
I had to remind myself at several points that this movie was released in 2021. If you'd have told me this movie was released in 2001...
100%.
I would have not doubted you for a second.
To be fair, this is Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
It could have been. For all we know, it definitely could have been.
It doesn't look.
Doesn't look like any sort. No, it looks like it's been filmed on a phone. It looks like...
It probably has.
Yeah, it probably has. And her husband, I think his name is Kenneth, said... Keith. He says, what do you need the number for? And she says, Adrian has one more story to tell.
Sure.
She then goes to Adrian's house and
fucking peacocks everywhere.
Yeah, she meets... I've written that. Meets Adrian's neighbour, who is called Marsha, who is a peacock farmer? Maybe.
She's peacock fancier.
Where do you find so many peacocks as a filmmaker?
I don't know.
There was loads. There was like 20 peacocks. She said she's...
I feel like we would have known. I just feel it's a weird thing to just come up now.
That
his neighbour,
she lives next door to
his
a peacock
neighbour
farm.
was a
To be fair, he thought his
farmer.
next door neighbour was an old man called Bud. So she goes over to speak to this neighbour. The neighbour's called Marsha.
I don't like digging people out, but the actress who was doing playing Marsha was awful. This scene was, she
bad.
dragged the actress who was playing Paige down with her.
She was pretty far down already. She says, "I've lived here for a few years now. I've never heard of anybody called Bud.
I didn't know the previous owners.
And then Paige says to her, "Is there anything like strange about living here?" Which is a weird question to ask somebody you've only just met. And Marsha says, "I've had a load of weird dreams since I've been living here. I feel like it's something in the water because it tastes funny." Now, bearing in mind,
Paige has just read the story.
And knows that Adrian flushed the powder down the toilet or whatever he did. And then Paige just wanders off.
Doesn't help this woman out.
Doesn't help
been potentially pinging her tits off
for the last 3 years.
However many years.
She walks off. As she walks off, she doesn't see, but we do see Bud standing in the window of her house. Paige then looks back, and Marsha's gone, Bud's gone, and all of the peacocks have gone.
Yeah.
Fuck knows what's gone on there. I don't know.
The ghost Bud's there.
Was it Ghost Marsha as well? Ghost peacocks?
Possibly, yeah.
Okay. Then we cut to Cameron. Cameron is the young nephew of Adrian.
I really like this bit.
Did you? I fucking hated this.
I didn't know what was going on, but I was just a bit at this point. I was like, the balls on this movie.
Cameron is skateboarding through a park on his own, and he suddenly hears Adrian's voice calling him. So he goes off wandering through the woods in this park, and he sees like a bright light. And he says, "Oh, Uncle Adrian, I knew you were around here somewhere."
And he fist bumps him.
They fist bump and do like a weird handshake with a ghost. And just at the last bit where they do the fist bump, you see Adrian's hand fist bump him.
Why was he here?
Who?
Just in Adrian. Why was he in that place in the bush?
Looking after Adrian, after Cameron. He was watching over him. And then Cameron's like, "Yeah, cool, it's nice to see you around." We then cut to a bookshop where there's a new book by Adrian there called Barely Dreaming.
I'm not sure it's going to be the bestseller that was implied here.
No, not at all. And we then cut to a grave. It's Shannon's grave. It gives you her grave details.
Yeah.
We cut, and then it pulls to the side, and Adrian's grave is next to it. So presumably he's been dug up and reburied because his funeral was happened before anybody else like this. And then, which I really hated, we see dead Adrian in his grave in a suit, lying in his grave. And then we get a video highlights of his and Shannon's time together in New York.
This montage.
No, the montage was fine.
Sweet.
It reminded me of the beginning of Cloverfield.
Yeah.
So they're having they're together on holiday in New York. They're having a great time. They're enjoying themselves, filming each other. And then we cut back to dead Adrian's body.
And he smiles.
I thought he was going to wink. And then the film ends. Nick, what on earth have we just talked about?
Do you know what? I don't really know. I don't really know what was happening. I kind of know what was happening.
Yeah, it's all explained.
Yeah.
It's just, why is it happening? Is my question.
I didn't hate it.
I did. I absolutely hated it. It was awful.
Because I thought, at least it's trying something a bit different.
It is trying something a bit different. I think unsuccessfully trying something a bit different.
Yeah.
But no, I thought it was garbage. I thought it was hot garbage. This guy made out like his final story was going to be this big groundbreaking reveal.
Absolutely.
And all it was he had one night where he had some dreams.
Yeah. Yeah. Which
I feel like he could have told Shannon's story and that would have been a better story to tell on your death.
Which really weren't that freaky.
No, it wasn't. It was not. It's the sort of dreams you have anyway. They're not that weird.
And then mixed up in the fact that he had these dreams, he decided to tell him about his ex-lover who met an awful end.
Yeah.
Why?
It's a great question.
I kind of just thought the whole dream stuff was completely unnecessary. And I'd rather this was just a whimsical story about him telling the relationship that he had with this woman who he loved.
I've got my one biggest question is he is seeing and having a relationship with Bud.
Yeah.
Before he takes any drugs.
Yeah.
Before he's ill.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
He's a ghost who lives next door.
Why does he not realise this?
There's a lot here, isn't there, to unpick?
Too much.
Why is
Marsha a ghost at the end, and who is Marsha?
Yeah, he never mentions Marsha. He's never seen
Paige
her.
has never taken any drugs. What happened then? His chair
sure.
just collapsed. Paige has never taken any drugs. Is, as far as we know, straight down the line, normal person. She's then seeing ghosts at the end for no reason. Marsha's saying that she's drinking water that's made her go all trippy, but she's not real.
Why does Marsha lie? Why does Ghost Marsha lie?
Yes.
Because she has asked, who's Bud?
Yeah.
We see Bud in the window.
Yeah.
But Ghost Marsha
also
denies
sees Bud in the window.
knowing who Bud is.
Yes.
So I don't understand why she lies.
I'm presuming
because I was kind
Ghost
of thinking,
Marsha is Ghost Bud's wife.
yeah, Adrian sees Ghost Bud, but for some reason he's not tuned into Ghost Marsha, whereas Paige is.
Or might have been just never has mentioned Ghost Marsha.
And were they Ghost Peacocks?
Yeah, they were. They were because they weren't there when she turned back around again.
And yeah,
this film is inexplicable nonsense. If it's just a story about a guy who takes some weird drug, has some weird dreams, tells his family about it, that's fine. But the rest of it all makes
the opposite.
It's all bullshit.
Guy reached the end of his life, wants to tell his family about this woman he loved, cared for.
Yes.
Wants his final wishes executed.
Fine, it's a great story.
Yeah, it's one or the other, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's two very different movies.
It's a weird amalgamation of both and so it makes neither of them work.
But I think they're both interesting ideas to do something with. But it's like you have also got a. Oh, I don't know if it's really horrible saying this. You've also got to pad this movie out to be a movie.
Yeah.
And a cheap way to do that is just to make all these random dream sequences. And some library footage. And
the deathbed confessional of this guy who fell in love with this girl that died when he proposed to her is a much better movie.
Mm.
This movie plays like a Hallmark movie as well. It's like all chintzy and family orientated.
When it
wants to be.
Yeah.
And then it's dreamy and trippy and horrible when it isn't.
Yeah, and he's getting stabbed with a pen
It's like two movies going on at once and neither of them working.
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking terrible. Not going to lie.
I just think it was, like I say, I was kind of intrigued by that it was doing something different. And I actually did. And I think I would have been even higher on it without the dream stuff. Because like I said, the first 10 minutes, I was like...
Without the dream stuff, this film's like 15 minutes long. I'm not kidding you, I've just flew through that. But that's like over an hour's worth of stuff.
I would say the first 20 minutes all the family stuff. Then,
if that. Yeah.
Yeah, then there's 45 minutes of...
weird, creepy dream stuff. And then 5 minutes at the end trying to explain it all.
Yeah.
There's 45 minutes in the middle of this 67-minute film where nothing needs...
And you get credits at the end, which are, like I say...
77 minutes and 45 minutes of bullshit. Maybe more. Also, maybe an hour.
Also, what I liked about the credits is that it's one of those where you get the cast.
Yeah.
Obviously written, directed and starring Michael Jason Allen.
Yeah.
And then you get all the, rest of the credits, camera operator, boom, grip, carpenter, blah, 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 and they're all Michael Jason Allen.
Oh, really? So this is just one man making a film on his own with some of his mates.
And
none of these people are actors.
You've got to give a little bit of... Look.
Yeah.
There's something there. You just can't... I don't know if you can... I don't even know if it's possible to execute it right at this... It's filmed on your day off, on your weekends, and
they've hired a cabin in the woods.
That's just got to be at the back of our minds, I think. That's all.
It's like we've said before. Both house scenes were filmed in the same house. It's all filmed in one Airbnb somewhere. But that doesn't excuse...
It's not the worst film we've seen this season.
No, 100%. No, it's not.
It
isn't.
And I think that is...
But that is not something to be proud of when Freak Show is the worst film we've seen this season.
But that's made by a film studio.
Yes, it is.
Which
and this film...
fair play, the worst film studio in existence, but
this film is made by
a weekend warrior
man with an 80s alter ego. This film, he has filmed it on a phone, mostly on his own.
Done the music for it.
And I respect anybody that can do that.
Yeah.
But also...
trying to make their way a bit.
But also, as a film, even as a bottom of the stream film, this isn't a good film by any stretch of the imagination.
It's hard for us to describe how lo-fi this is.
Yeah.
It's so bottom of the stream.
It potentially, we've said it before, but
it's
it potentially
underground.
is as far to the bottom of the stream as we've ever gone.
Yeah.
But it isn't very good.
It tries. It tries.
Just say it's not very good, Nick.
It's not. It's not very good, but it held my interest. I didn't want to turn it off.
No point did I want to turn it off, but only because I knew how short it was.
You couldn't be bothered to get up.
Couldn't be bothered to turn it off.
So, yeah.
What's the best thing about it?
It's the first 10 minutes.
What's the one thing you'd change about it?
Take all the dream stuff out. Just make it a family drama.
Make it a 15-minute
That's a pretty
film.
big thing to change.
Take all the dream sequences out. You've got nothing left. What you've got then is a man dying, a lady reading a book, and the book getting published. That's it. Stream table?
Sure. I think this is really easy.
Okay.
I think we're going to have it in the same place.
Okay. I'm going to read through from top to bottom.
Okay.
No, from bottom to top. Number 8 is Freak Show. Number 7 is Shark Lake. Number 6 is Nessie and Me. Number 5 is Cosmic Candy. Number 4 is Ape Canyon. Number 3 is Office Invasion. And number 2 is Frozen. And currently at the top of the stream is Unknown Origins. Where's this film going, Nick?
7th.
7th. Where? Below?
Sorry, we're adding a number, aren't we?
Yes.
8th.
The second from the bottom
Yes.
is what you're saying. It's worse than Shark Lake.
Yeah.
Yeah. Easy.
But I do want to say, as a positive, it is significantly more enjoyable than Freak Show.
Yeah. Freak
Like-
Show's 25th in that 9-film stream table.
Yeah.
That will not be beaten this season. I'll be amazed if it is. What are we going to put in our letterbox review?
Oh, just as a bonus as well.
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this on Monday's show. You can also find this movie on YouTube.
Oh, yeah, you can. It's streams for
So
free on
if
YouTube.
Even if you don't have Amazon Prime, or
Yeah.
it's not on Amazon Prime in your location, you can watch it on YouTube.
You can.
So, yeah.
What are we going to put in our letterbox review?
I don't know. I'm just going to open it up. Let's first of all,
Yep.
we are now officially the 6 people to have watched it.
Nice.
I've marked it as watched. Should we like it? No one's liked it.
Like it.
We've liked it. First, what do we want to rate it? You have an option of 5 stars.
Part of me
1
wants
to
to go
5.
5 stars.
A star?
A star. But yeah, give it a star.
Okay. Done. Let's get this reviewed.
Where do we start? Did we mention the podcast? We recently watched this as part of our podcast, Bottom of the Stream with Adam and Nick.
You can find the Bottom of the Stream podcast review of Barely Dreaming.
Wherever you find podcasts. That seems a bit cheeky, but hey, nobody's ever.
I've written Barley Dreaming.
Barley
A
Dreaming.
film about farmers.
Or barley.
Wherever you find your podcasts. Right. This movie is a valiant effort at capturing
Is
the weirdness of dreams.
the best example of a weird dream stream of consciousness. Something along those lines. That you will
the
find.
best example of of attempting to capture the weirdness of dreaming.
What it isn't a good example of is a film.
Some may say this struggles in the aspect of being a film. But there are ideas here
There are ideas here that nearly got executed right.
That nearly got executed. Interestingly.
Nearly got introduced. That's brilliant.
Would we like to add anything else?
What have we got so far?
You can find the Bottom of the Stream podcast review of Barely Dreaming wherever you find podcasts. This movie is the best example. Is a good example of attempting to capture the weirdness of dreams. Some may say this struggles in the aspect of being a film, but there are ideas here that nearly got executed interestingly.
That's brilliant. That'll do. That's fine. If anybody else is going to go in and leave a Letterboxd review, can you please mention that you listened to our review on Bottom of the Stream, and this is your thoughts of it?
I will point out this is going to make our account look really weird because I'm about 2 seasons behind on Letterboxd entering all the other movies, and then I've just skipped straight ahead to this one.
Fair enough.
That's fine.
Well, that gives you something to do whilst we're off for the next 2 weeks. Yeah, that's true. We're off for the next 2 weeks. We should probably mention that. No, 1 week. We're having a week off. Next week there won't be any episodes. So yeah, don't expect to find any.
That does mean you've got 2 weeks to watch whatever we choose, or whatever the randomizer chooses.
Whatever Robin chooses in a minute. We've done the stream table. We just need to pick next week's film, or 2 weeks' time film. Do you want to do that now?
Sure, I've done. The review is in.
Sweet. What sort of thing do you want from our next movie, Nick? Would it be nice to make a return to Netflix, maybe?
It feels like that would
been away for a while.
Even things out a bit more.
A little bit more, yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what to... I'm all discombobulated after this movie.
Yeah, same.
I'll take anything.
It's been a strange few weeks of movies, hasn't it?
Anything.
You ready?
Yes.
Robin has picked us a movie called Fury. Oh, that's with an IE, so it might be Furry. I think it's Fury. Vietnamese movie.
Okay.
Thoughts on Vietnam? Have we been to Vietnam before?
I don't think we have, no.
I don't think we have either. No. You shot into your bike then.
I know, I realised I'd
you were
gone
quite
backwards.
a long way away from it. You're still writing that review. Furious, 2019 movie. Do you want to know the synopsis?
Yes, please.
According to IMDb, it is a martial arts, one-person army action drama thriller. From the synopsis?
Yes, please.
When her daughter is kidnapped, a desperate yet determined mother treks through her former gang's turf in Saigon to track down the abductors. One-woman army.
Nice. I feel like we've not done a martial arts movie for ages, action movie. So
agreed. 6.3 out of 10 on IMDb.
Cool.
From 5,750 reviews, so a little bit more well-known.
Wow.
So yeah, go out and watch Fury, and in the meantime, check us out on Instagram, Letterboxd, and TikTok at BOTS_podcast on all of those. If you want to drop us an email, our email address is bottomofthestream@gmail.com, and our website is bottomofthestream.com. On our website, you'll find every episode we've ever recorded, loads of other cool stuff, all the stream tables, and you can even get some merch if you want to buy a Bottom of the Stream.
Powder pouch.
Nice. After you've done all of that, head over to Patreon, patreon.com/bottomofthestream. On there, for £5 every month, you will get early access to episodes. You will get bonus episodes. You will get an exclusive access into our Discord. And you will also get a wild card, which means you can give Robin the week off, pick a film that we watch. If you pick the best one of the season, you will win a prize. And then when you've done all that, head over to Discord. The Discord is a wonderful group of wonderful people who will talk to you about anything. We play games. We do watch-alongs. We've got all sorts of cool stuff planned for the Discord over the next few months.
Sure have.
So check out the Discord. The Discord link will be at the bottom of the show notes.
If you can spare a few minutes, please leave us a rating or review anywhere you can review or rate podcasts. We're on all those places. Places like Podbean, Podchaser, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music. You can watch our Monday show, Bottom of the Stream, with Adam and Nick on YouTube as a video show.
You can indeed. Every week, every Monday morning, it'll be there on YouTube for you to watch, but you can also download it as a podcast if you are that way inclined. Do all of that. Go out and watch Fury, and we'll be back here in 2 weeks' time on Monday for Bottom of the Stream with Adam and Nick, and the following Thursday for the movie show.
Cheers!
Bye!